So I have a question for you. How is it that the director of NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center from 1960 to 1970, Werner von Braun, has Psalms 19:1 engraved on his headstone?
Hold on. Don't scroll. What I'm going to share with you today may change your perspective on outer space. But if you're not an open-minded person, keep scrolling. But if the International Space Station is in space and space is empty, someone please explain this to me. NASA alarmed that astronaut spacesuits keep filling up with water. Like, a European Space Agency astronaut was wrapping up a hour-long spacewalk outside the International Space Station when he noticed a water leak in his helmet. Starting to think that these guys are filming in a pool with a green screen or a blue screen. Like, here's another one just to put in perspective. But starting to connect the dots now, NASA admits on their website that they literally have the exact replica of the ISS in their pool. But here's another picture. The average bullet travels at 1,700 miles an hour. The ISS travels 10 times faster at 17,500 miles an hour. Like, how do we get on and off that thing? And already I can tell what you guys are thinking. Why does this even matter? I still have to get up tomorrow and pay my rent and pay my bills. Like, who cares? Why does this matter? But what if you didn't? What if we weren't giving so much money to NASA? $24 billion a year. But think about it, guys. We're going through space at 500,000 miles an hour. Do you really think the International Space Station is just tagging along with all the other satellites? Like, but what if I told you guys outer space is not up, it's out?
Let's see what this Freemason encyclopedia, the 33 degree, says about atheism. One who does not believe in the existence of God. Such a state of mind can only arise from the ignorance of stupidity, or a corruption of principle, since the whole universe is filled with moral and physical proofs of a creator. There's a saying, symbolism will be their downfall. Well, this is a depiction of the earth, and every ancient cosmology of our time has depicted the same thing.
I got a question for all believers. Have you ever seen a ball-shaped footstool? I mean, seriously. The Shamayim heavens are my throne, and the Eretz, earth, is my footstool. But I have seen flat and round footstools. It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the Shamayim heaven like a curtain and spreads them out like a tent to dwell in. A circle with a tent to dwell in. That's the firmament. Genesis chapter 1 verse 7. I have never seen a tent in the shape of a ball. That would be impossible. But this would resemble a tent. The pictures that you see of space are all CGI. They're made to get you to not believe in the Most High. They don't want you to believe that there's a creator. His name is Yahuwah. And this is the true Hebrew cosmology of Yahuwah's universe. We have the flat, stationary earth. Indeed, the world is established, immovable. We're not on a flying ball flying through space at thousands of miles per hour. The firmament dome goes over top of our earth. Have you, with him, spread out the sky, which is strong and as a molten looking glass. The firmament. And the sun, moon, and stars are actually inside of that firmament. Yahuwah, our creator, is up close and personal. He did not create this massive universe. So big they say that we would just be a speck. No, he did not. We are the apple of his eye. We are the center of his creation. They've been programming us with this stuff since we were babies. Renounce it. The truth is in the word of the Most High Yahuwah. In the scriptures. Go read them for yourself.
What's up, guys? It's Tyler with Flat Earth Theism. And I just want to tell you a story real quick. And first, let me tell you why I want to tell you this story. Is if you're struggling with understanding the flat Earth and the cosmology of a geocentric Earth versus heliocentrism, maybe it'll help if you understood the history. As I know for me, once I understood the history of where it all came from, things were a lot easier to digest. So, and although I highly recommend it on reading the Bible and being a Christian, I mean, from my heart, that's what I recommend. You don't actually have to be a Christian or read the Bible to understand what's going on with this whole flat Earth versus globe battle, okay? Without getting into names, dates, and specific facts, I'm just going to go real quick, all right? The Roman Catholic Church, for 1,000+ years, had rule over the earth. They were controlling everything. They still do. But, okay, from like 1,000 or 1100, 12th century, okay, they were telling people that you need to pay the Pope for your salvation. You need to come to church and praise God through a priest. It's the only way you can connect to God is through a holy place. Okay, essentially it was a power structure that relied on man. Okay, it was so bad, in fact, that they wouldn't allow people to even have Bibles. This is called the Dark Ages. They were killing people who read the Bible, and they were killing people who were translating the Bibles in English and trying to distribute it, because if people understood what the Bible actually said, they would understand they don't need a church. They don't need a man-made power structure to live their lives. They don't need to worship God through men. Okay? So, and this is why, forget Pythagoras, that he's an occultist. He was into, Kabbalistic teachings and stuff. He tried to prove all his theories with math and stuff. It's like a magician. It's like magic. Okay, Aristophanes, same thing. If he actually proved the Earth was a globe, they would have been talking about it a lot sooner than the 1500s. In the 1500s is when this all took place, this battle of the globe versus helio, and when the globe really took hold. Okay, it was called the Reformation. And in the 1500s, a guy named Martin Luther pretty much kicked off Reformation. It's essentially just a bunch of people that said, hey, we need to have the Bible in our own hands. We need to have our own understanding of God without the power structure of the church, because they don't need that. Once they learned what the Bible actually said, they knew that they didn't need a power structure. Okay, this threatened the church, right? Because the words of the Bible killed the need for a church. You didn't need that, right? So once the printing press was invented, okay, they couldn't kill people who had the Bible anymore. The Bible spread too quick, i.e. the truth spread too quick. So they had to figure out a way to discredit the Bible, to discredit the truth. So what they did, they invented a dynamic called learning against learning. This is where the Jesuits came in, okay? And they adapted some heliocentric principles in order to take away the truth of the Bible. As they knew if you would believe in the very basics of these Kabbalistic, demonic, magical mathematician beliefs that were revolving around the sun and that were flying through space and stuff, then they knew that the Bible was discredited. They knew that they had a way for you to not be a believer in the true word anymore. So they adapted the heliocentric model. Okay, they started putting that into place rather than a geocentric, flat, stationary, enclosed system like the Bible said, because they knew, again, once again, they knew that if they could get people not to believe the Bible, then they could get people to not believe their senses, the truth, the very nature of our foundation of what God created for us. and they knew that they could continue with their power structure. Okay, it's really all that simple. So again, I encourage you to read the Bible and look into it, but you don't have to understand where the heliocentric model came from. It came from the 1500s, from the Jesuits, the Roman Catholic Church trying to keep their power. Okay, and once you understand that, once you understand the history, it'll help alleviate some of your thought processes and the globers attacking your learning process of a flat, enclosed, stationary, motionless plane, which is what all of our senses allude to and what is said in the Word of God. So, yeah, there you go. Much love, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Does anyone actually still believe that this piece of junk went through a space vacuum 238,000 miles away and landed on the moon? Yeah, this is what NASA's saying landed on the moon. I mean, just look at this thing. It looks like it's made out of cardboard box, aluminum foil, and duct tape. Yeah, that's right, duct tape. But remember the moon buggy they took to the moon? Yeah, well they're saying they used duct tape to hold it together. You guys don't believe me? Well, let's ask NASA. NASA admits that they used duct tape to hold the moon buggy and moon lander together. Not only did this thing land on the moon, but it took off.
99, proceeded, 3, 2, 1, ignition. Right away, Houston. Vector good. X5.
Like, who filmed that? Who stayed and filmed that? But that wasn't the only time they used duct tape. During the Apollo 13 lunar mission, on the spacecraft an oxygen tank exploded. After many hours, the engineers came up with a plan to modify the canisters using duct tape. But guys, shadows don't lie. NASA does.
The stars you see in the sky are actually angels. They are not these big balls of gas and fire like we have been told. We know according to Genesis 1 that the Most High placed the stars, the sun, and the moon inside of the firmament dome, which would make it impossible for them to be these massive balls of gas and fire. When they've told us that stars are actually much bigger than the earth, so this would literally be impossible. If we go to Matthew chapter 2 verse 2, we're going to figure out what a star is. Where is he who has been born sovereign of the Yahudim, or king of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east and have come to reverence to him, or to worship him. He's talking about the Messiah who was just born. And see, the star which they had seen in the east went before them, until it came and stood over where the child was. And seeing the star, they rejoiced with exceedingly great joy. So you're probably wondering, how can a big star go and stand over someone? Because they're actually living beings. They are messengers, angels of the Most High. Now here is a description of one of these heavenly messengers, one of these angels. As for their appearance, all four looked alike, as if a wheel in the middle of a wheel. A wheel inside of a wheel. Now here are some real photos of stars taken with a high zoom camera. What do you notice? They look like wheels inside of wheels. Pretty accurate to the description that was given there. Remember, Satan drew a third of the stars of heaven and thrown them to the Eretz, the earth. That's referring to the fallen angels, right? The stars. Which kind of makes sense why they call these wicked celebrities stars.
While you are waiting 55 seconds to see this rocket hit the firmament, let me quickly remind you about Operation Starfish Prime, which was a high-altitude nuclear test conducted in 1962, in which it appears that they tried to fire a rocket at the firmament. When you have a projectile hit a solid object, it typically will turn into what looks like a starfish. That's why I think they called it Starfish Prime, because a projectile fired against a solid object upon impact will look like a starfish. Check that out. The operation that was conducted after that was called Operation Fishbowl, in which they tried to do the same thing. And I believe there is a firmament up there, and so did the founder of NASA, or the chief Nazi scientist who worked for NASA, who was also buddies with Walt Disney, who helped to create the illusion of space through cartoons that has dazzled the minds of the sheeple for so many years. Looks like a starfish because there's a solid object up there, and there's also other things up there too. Keep going down the rabbit hole.
I'm sorry, but these flight paths are making no sense if we live on a supposed globe. So let me try to make this as easy as possible. Let's try going from South Africa to Australia. We should be able to make it in one go, right over the Indian Ocean, if we live on the supposed globe. Alrighty, so here we have Johannesburg, South Africa to Perth, Australia. Let's hit search. Alright, let's do one stop. Okay, can anybody make sense of this? So we go from Johannesburg to Dubai. What? And then Dubai to Australia? Like, that's a little strange. So hold on, let me make sense of this. We go from Johannesburg to Dubai, then to Australia. Like, why didn't we do this? I mean, after all, this is what we live on, right? But when you take a look at it on the Gleason's map, which all pilots use, by the way, we have Johannesburg, South Africa, Dubai, then Perth, Australia. Look at this. Wow. So it makes perfect sense on the Gleason's map. Absolutely no sense if we live on a globe. Why didn't we do this? I'm sorry, but that is just one of the strangest things. Johannesburg, Dubai, then Australia. Wow. I mean, what else is there to say?
I'm watching this movie, Gods of Egypt, and I'm like, wait a minute, is that a flat earth? No, it can't be. Oh, it is! Local sun and all, it's a flat earth in an old Egyptian movie. But wait a minute, remember when Justin Trudeau said,
I got fascinated with the idea of flat earthers. Now, this is an entirely new phenomenon. There wasn't really any moment back in recorded history, the ancient Greeks or the ancient Babylonians or the Incas or whoever else, who actually wondered whether the earth was actually flat or not. And Christopher Columbus, they knew the earth was round. There was no danger he was going to fall off the edge of the world. That wasn't what people worried about when he was setting off to discover the Americas or discover a shortcut to India. But recently, over the past few years, a whole bunch of people have decided that the world is flat. Now, everything we know about science, from the people we've sent to the moon, to the photos we've taken from space, to how we explain day versus night and seasons, we know that the earth is round.
so now all of a sudden the ancients did believe in this?
It came in the mail and y'all are opening it with me. Ooh. Smell it. Woo! Here we go.
The Flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Idialenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.